It started the day I moved into my new apartment. Small, a bit run down, but cheap and quiet. Exactly what I needed. There was only one strange thing about it. A tall, antique mirror screwed into the wall of the bedroom. The landlord said it came with the unit. Said it couldn't be removed. I didn't care. At first. But that mirror, it was wrong. During the day, it was fine, dusty, a little warped, but nothing unusual. But at night, I started noticing things. Subtle things. When I passed by, I'd catch glimpses, delays in my reflection, like it lagged behind my movements. Once I turned my head and my reflection didn't follow. I laughed it off. Sleep deprivation, stress, shadows, until the third night. That's when it smiled at me. And I didn't smile back. I didn't sleep much after that night. I stayed up until dawn, keeping the bedroom light on, watching the mirror from across the room. Every time I blinked, I half expected the reflection to move without me. It didn't. Not that night, not while the light was on. By morning, I convinced myself it was a dream. Maybe I had smiled and just didn't remember it. Maybe I was spiraling from all the stress of the move. That's what I told myself, until I saw it again. Not the smile, something worse. Around 3 a.m., I got up to get water. I passed the bedroom door and caught the reflection just for a second. It was standing closer to the glass than I was. My double. Only its eyes weren't mine. They were wrong. Too dark, too wide, like they were watching me, not copying me. And then it blinked. Slowly. I hadn't blinked. The next morning, I bought a blanket and covered the mirror entirely. Problem solved, right? Except the blanket didn't stay. Each time I entered the room, it had slipped. Just enough to reveal part of the mirror, like it wanted to be seen. One night, I duct taped it down tight. Even moved furniture in front of it. Around 2:48 a.m., I woke up freezing. The room was colder than the rest of the apartment, like a walk-in freezer. And the blanket, it was on the floor. And the mirror, it was fogged up. From the inside, I stood frozen, staring at the fogged-up mirror. There was no reason for it to fog. The room wasn't warm. There was no steam, no explanation. But then, a shape moved behind the glass. Not my reflection. Something else. It was faint, like a silhouette just beyond a frosted window. Tall, slightly hunched. Its limbs wrong, too long. It moved slowly, dragging itself across the other side of the mirror. And then, it turned toward me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Its hand pressed against the inside of the glass, fingers splayed, twitching. And then, slowly, it raised its other hand and began to trace something in the fog. A word, help. That was worse than anything else, worse than the figure, worse than the glass. Because if it was asking for help, what else was in there with it? Or worse, what had it become? I backed out of the room, closed the door, and didn't go back in that night. I tried to sleep on the couch, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw that word. Help. The next day, I tried to get rid of the mirror, called movers, junk haulers, anyone, but no one would touch it. I offered money. I lied and said it was just broken. Each time they came in, looked at it, and left. One guy said, "I don't know what that is, but it doesn't want to leave." That night, I dreamed of hands, dozens of them, pressing against glass from the inside, leaving smears and scratches. And one pair of eyes, glowing in the dark, staring straight at me. The mirror started changing. Not all at once, subtle at first. One morning I walked past it and caught a glimpse, not of me, but of my room empty, like I wasn't there, just a vacant space where I should have been. Then, later that night, I walked by again. This time I was there, but I wasn't moving. My reflection stared back at me, completely still, unblinking, smiling. I wasn't smiling. I waved my hand. It didn't. I ran out of the room and slammed the door. I stopped sleeping. Every creak in the house sounded like footsteps. Every glance toward the mirror brought that same silent figure. Not quite me, not quite human, closer to the surface. The glass began to crack. Just a hairline fracture at first, running down the center like a scar. But every day it got longer, wider, and something inside it, something behind the mirror, was moving closer. One night, I found scratches on the inside of the mirror, deep, violent, as if someone or something had been trying to claw its way out. And then I started hearing the whispers. They didn't come from the mirror anymore. They came from inside my house. I couldn't take it anymore. The whispers had become voices. The footsteps followed me from room to room. Lights flickered no matter how many bulbs I changed. And the mirror, it was almost completely shattered, but somehow still whole. That night, I decided to end it. I stood in front of the mirror, holding a hammer. "I'm not afraid of you," I said, though my voice trembled. The reflection didn't copy me. It stood still, smiling. Then it moved, slowly lifting its hand, pressing it against the glass from the inside. I struck the mirror. Once, twice. On the third hit, it shattered completely. But behind the glass, there wasn't a wall. There was a hallway, dark, endless, and something stepped out. It looked like me, but wrong. Hollow eyes, stretched grin, movements that twitched and jerked like a puppet with broken strings. It stood still, smiling. Then it moved, slowly lifting its hand, pressing it against the glass from the inside. I struck the mirror. Once, twice. On the third hit, it shattered completely. But behind the glass, there wasn't a wall. There was a hallway, dark, endless, and something stepped out. It looked like me, but wrong. Hollow eyes, stretched grin, movements that twitched and jerked like a puppet with broken strings. "I've waited so long," it whispered. "Now we trade." Before I could move, it lunged. Everything went black. I woke up hours later, or maybe days, but I wasn't in my house. I was in the mirror, watching as the thing that wore my face walked away, smiling. Now I wait, watching, just like it did. until someone else looks too long and the glass begins to crack.